Welcome in everyone to Betting Weekly Live. It's Tuesday, the 8th of July. You're with Steve Wyss and Will White. We are very, very close to 10,000 subscribers on the channel. 3 short is the latest live count. Are we going to get to 10,000 subscribers during this live show, Will?
Well, it's potentially quite a momentous occasion, isn't it? And we're all on tenterhooks to see if we reach the big number on today's show. You'd like to think that those out there that haven't yet subscribed are enough to get us over the line. But yeah, big day potentially. Where's the over-under line then, Steve, do you reckon?
Oh, I mean, the over-under line's got to be 10,010, surely. I mean, we're not just going to get there. We're surely going to smash it. That's the way I think anyway. But then people will be ticking unsubscribe, knowing playing silly games out there.
There'll be some trolls out there for sure. But yeah, let's hope the good outweighs the evil and we get there.
Well, good day to everyone. Tristan Wiggle, Byron Merle, he's wondering who's going to be the 10,000th subscriber. I'm not sure if we'll actually know until later on. We might be able to look back on some of the stats and that. Duncan Evans, Rick Haley, Ian Lights Out, good to see you. Ian Messina as well. Daniel Lucani. Byron Merle says Billy Blanco and Steve Wyss, an honourable duo. Will, how you been doing? This is a bit of an off season for you, isn't it? I know you do bet on tennis as well. Wimbledon, I presume, has been catching your eye.
Yeah, Wimbledon's certainly been catching the eye. I was actually there on Sunday on court 1, so that was for the Norrie Jarry match, which was quite an epic 5-setter. Norrie got over the line in the end. But yeah, great day at Wimbledon. I've been relaxing a little bit over the past week. I've been to a sports betting conference in London. I'm not sure whether any of the viewers were there themselves, but there was a sports betting conference on in London Thursday, Friday last week. But as always, find it hard to resist staying in touch with / being immersed in the Club World Cup and any other football betting markets out there, but mainly Club World Cup. So looking forward to the final stages.
Yeah, it's going to get really sort of a mental period, isn't it? Starting in August again, as it always does. Quite right to take a bit of downtime. I've been even watching a bit of tennis myself with the Sabalenka match on right now. In a bit of trouble. Is anyone betting on that game? How about Sinner last night, by the way? Got very lucky with the injury pullout. But yeah, incredible stuff at Wimbledon. That's where, I mean, this time of year, that's where most of the money is in terms of the sports world, isn't it? Rather than, especially when there's no major international tournament going on. Yeah,
for sure, Steve. Yeah, I was following the Sinner match last night. And I guess, obviously a shame for Dimitrov the way he went out. I believe that's now five last Grand Slams, or at least 5 of the last 6 Grand Slams for Dimitrov, where he's had to pull out injured during a match, which is quite crazy and a real shame for him. But I guess the results overall will have suited the bettors out there that managed to get a bigger than normal price on Sinner and running. And with the 1 set complete rules at Bet Rivers, they would have been paid out there. So a good result probably for the bettors. But, I've always said like tennis is a sport which is great for the bettors because of the nature of it being 1-on-1 or 2-on-2 if you're betting doubles. You can really get into depth regarding the matchup and the psychology of the players. And I personally, I think it's easier to find edges as a kind of starting out in the betting world, betting on tennis. I started out betting on tennis back in the day than it is soccer. That's for sure.
Just looking through the comments here. Yeah, that Spain-Belgium match over 4.5 cashed easily. Said, yeah, that was a crazy match, wasn't it, Ashley? Dan Robert, welcome in. Will is a massive Auckland fan. Absolutely. Did him well in the last couple of games. Dom, thank you very much. This is Kit Kat. For those who are new to the stream, he regularly makes appearances, has the occasional bet from time to time as well. Charlie had the girl Sigmund plus 6.5. She's played very well here against Sabalenka, that's for sure. But anyway, today we're going to be looking at both the Club World Cup semi-finals. Huge match today involving Chelsea and then PSG tomorrow. And also it's the start of the Champions League and Conference League qualifying. I have had a look at the card today and I've got some bets coming up later. The action has just started. You can bet in play on Bet Rivers Cups. The Finnish champions are in action against Milsami from Moldova. Champions League 2025-26 is underway. How exciting. indeed. But we will start with Fluminense against Chelsea. Huge game today at 3 p.m. Eastern at MetLife Stadium in New York City. Chelsea minus 162 favourites. They've shortened. They were minus 148 yesterday. The money's coming for Chelsea. Fluminense nearly 5-1 now, and the tie at plus 285. Apart from, I think, Effie Brilovsky in chat yesterday, who was tipping pretty much everything to do with Fluminense, the general sort of consensus out there is Chelsea will have enough to go through. Will minus 162 on the money line in 90 minutes. How does that fare with your personal rankings?
Yeah, I was hoping for a better price on Chelsea here. I think the market has been shrewder than I expected it to be. I was kind of hoping, Chelsea went off plus 120 against Flamengo in the group stages and around about even money or small minus money against Palmeiras in the last round. I was hoping we get maybe minus 120, minus 130 Chelsea here, but they have been backed in. And we're now looking at pretty much minus 160. For me, Fluminense are a lot weaker than Flamengo and Palmeiras, particularly Flamengo. And they're also missing two of their most important players here in Freitas and Martinelli, not the Martinelli of Arsenal, obviously, but two huge players, really. Their ever-presence, and two of their more youthful starters, Steve. Those two guys, 25 years old. Six of Fluminense's projected starting 11 will be 33 years old or older here. Two of them in their 40s.
It's like the Because We Win team, isn't it?
Well, I wouldn't want to know the average age of the Because We Win team, that's for sure. But I certainly wouldn't be backing us either. But this will be their 6th match in 21 days. And, if you look at the underlying data, they're quite fortunate to be here. They've not really been that impressive in regards to the underlying statistics. They've been gritty. They've been determined. They've been defensively solid and potent on the break with guys like John Arias, but they have lost the XG battle against both Al Hilal and Inter. The only game of theirs where they seemed to win convincingly. There was the 2-0 against Inter, but they were dominated on the underlying stats. But they had a 4-2 win, I think, in the group stage against Ulsan, I think it was. But if you look at the underlying data there, they weren't really that dominant there. So it's certainly setting up to be the type of match where Fluminense will look to be defensively sound and then hit Chelsea on the break with the likes of John Arias. But for me, Fluminense are quite a bit worse than those two other Brazilian teams that Chelsea have already played. They're missing two of their most important players. They've got an aging starting 11 that are playing their 6th match in 21 days. And I'm not sure they can really keep it up. In terms of like model ratings and model value, well, my ratings think that this has been priced about correctly. But given the kind of more human factors I've mentioned, I think I'm willing to take a same game parlay on Chelsea to win and under 3.5 goals, which gets us to plus money. I was looking at it a few hours ago and it was plus 110, was backed into plus 100 last time I looked. But I think Fluminense's game plan here is going to be almost certainly to try and keep it tight defensively. I'm not expecting an expansive open game. It's hard to see 4+ goals. Chelsea should really win. So that's my way in at a more palatable price than the minus 162. I've got a player prop as well, as per usual. But what's your take on the game and the total, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, I do think Chelsea will find a way to win the game, certainly go through. I like under here. Under would be the bet I'd be looking at, probably the under 2.25 goal line. This Fluminense don't really convince me offensively too much. And it could be a tight game. We know it's going to be hot there at MetLife today, 3 p.m. Eastern time. So I feel like it's going to be quite a tight game. And I think we mentioned absences there. It really cost Palmeiras in the last round. And, we're at the stage of the tournament where I think the teams with the massive squads have got a huge advantage because suspensions are racked up. The suspension rules are brutal, aren't they? Let's be honest. They can't be. This needs to change. We can't have the top players missing out in quarterfinals and semi-finals. It's ridiculous. But it's a huge advantage for those who've got a big squad because they can bring players in. And, age, Effie's been really quite good with a lot of these Brazilian teams. I'll give you a lot of credit, and the South American teams. And, you may well cash with that. But I'm not sure I can agree with that statement. Age makes no difference at this stage. Because I do think this is now, how many games have they played? What, 6? Is there 6 game, 5th game? In quite a short space of time, these are old players who eventually, usually it snaps, doesn't it? There's a straw that breaks the camel's back with these players. And Thiago Silva's done unbelievable stuff. And I just feel, Nathan Joyce has mentioned this before about Fluminense. He didn't even think, he thought they were the worst team from Brazil in this tournament. Lewis Jones yesterday, I kind of agree what Lewis thought about. It's the end of the road for Fluminense. So, for me, the bet that I would look at is under 2.25 Asian goals, or under 2.5 if you like that sort of thing. I do quite like that SGP, to be fair with you. Under 3.5 goals and Chelsea win. Player props obviously going to be very interesting as well for the game. Loads of markets here at Bet Rivers. Who catches your eye in this market?
It's based off price, but it's also based off there's a player I've liked for quite a long time, and I think he's been kind of riddled with injuries since he joined Chelsea. But if you look at his odds compared to the other top runners in the market, it's Christopher Nkunku. I don't know if he'll start. I would say there's probably a 50-50 chance he starts. But this is where I like the Bet Rivers rules. I like the state refunded if your man doesn't start. I think that really opens the door to take a roll, take a punt on one of the players that looks like a good price as long as they do start, because basically you're getting a bit of a free roll on that. And for me, Nkunku, if he does start, should not be minus 115. He averages 1.15 shots on target per 90 for Chelsea and 1.11 per 90 over his career. Yes, like I said, he might not start. His form maybe is sketchy, but he's had a lot of injuries. And then also Chelsea might be looking to offload him. But that, on the flip side, he might just have something to prove, and he might want to put himself in the shop window / prove something to Maresca. And like I said at the beginning, he's a player that I've rated quite highly, certainly since his time at Leipzig. So yeah, Christopher Nkunku, I don't think he should be minus 115 to have over 0.5 shots on target, which is essentially for him to register a shot on target or more.
Yeah, when you actually said he's been plagued by injury, it didn't exactly narrow down the shortlist for Chelsea players. I wondered who it was for a minute. It could have been several possibilities. Reminder yesterday, Lewis Jones's play on Cucurella. He's been very popular. He's been overpriced for a lot of things. I'm just going to go through some comments now. Loads of them. Thanks, everyone, so far. Ian Lights Out. That was a great anytime scorer from Lewis yesterday in the Women's Euro. G. Davis, good to see you. S, the mysterious S. Do any of you do any over goals in the first half? Yes, I do. Often, probably more than half of it will be games that just start absolutely wild, and it's obvious there's going to be a goal. Alternatively, you can target teams that do get off to a fast start. I'll give you an example. In Norway, Bodo Glimt regularly score first half goals. They always have come out of the traps really hard. Certain teams come out quick, some don't. But there's definitely value in the first half goals market. Only overs for me. I don't ever bet unders on the first half very often because my natural eye more sees the overs rather than unders. But it's each to their own. Pat, that was a difficult one for me yesterday on Norrköping. I got the under, but that late goal did cost me profit on the game. It's one of those where I'd have to take the bet 100 times again, really. The odds were just plain wrong. I do prefer to take bets where I'm more confident rather than price. But it is what it is. It was actually an unbelievable goal late on top corner stuff. Goalkeeper couldn't have saved it. Steve from Lynn, good to see you. Reece Williams, Levi Colwell's absence isn't being highlighted enough. 35 starts in the 38 Premier League games, heart of the defence. Is that maybe an underrating factor? I mean, to be honest with you, he isn't someone I think of as a key Chelsea player. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Yeah. Colwill and actually Delap's out as well, but I don't think Delap really matters that much because they'll probably slot in João Pedro or Nkunku or Neto, or they're quite comfortable playing that false nine kind of system. But I think I can't remember. Was it Pat? Did you say? Sorry if I got your name wrong there, but yeah, I agree. I think Colwill is actually a big miss. I do have in my notes that to emphasise that I don't really trust Chelsea, and that's why defensively I don't trust them. And Chalobah and Tosin, I guess, probably start. Not particularly confident in that duo, but at the same time, how much
I like Tosin. I think there's a player there. I mean, he got him for free. Actually, I think he's one of the best signings they've had. But there is inconsistency with some of these younger players. That's the problem.
For me, I've got Colwill as their best centre back, but I'm not really sure. Whatever the setup is, they're defensively that solid, and maybe it's Cucurella and Gusto or Reece James that also kind of it's just the holistic system that doesn't really instill much confidence in me. But just how much attacking intent are Fluminense going to have here? I don't know. It's hard to really visualize a match where that Chelsea defense is going to be put under a ton of pressure. But for sure, it's playing on my mind with my play, which is, Chelsea to win the game and under 3.5 goals. I can't afford for Fluminense to certainly score more than one, and I don't really want them to score one, to be honest with you. So it's something to bear in mind for sure. It's a factor.
It's a question here from Real Brandon King, which is a really good one, actually. Moneyline advice. When he misses out on a good moneyline price, is it as simple then as going with minus 0.75 or -1 on the Asian line? Can you sort of get yourself out of that situation, Will, sometimes, where the Asian lines are actually better than the money line?
I don't really see it like that, to be honest with you, Brendan. As the money line price kind of erodes against you, just swallowing the extra quarter of a goal or half a goal, if you're talking about the -1 line, there's a value to be put on that. You've kind of got to do the maths, basically. And for me, I always say bet early or bet late. What I mean in regards to that is, if you're going to back Chelsea here, I mean, that comes with a caveat of knowing that those Chelsea odds are going to shorten, right? But Chelsea opened here -130 or something. They're now -160. If you're analysing that -130 opener and you're kind of trying to figure out which way the money's going to come, you're putting the pieces of the jigsaw together. Normally, the picture presents itself that the money's going to come for Chelsea. So if you're a Chelsea backer, you want to try and get on early. I know I'm talking in hindsight here, or with the benefit of hindsight. But then the bet late kind of side of it is, if you want to back Fluminense here, you're probably better off waiting until the final hour, because you want to wait for all of that recreational weight of money to come in, to pile into Chelsea, to push the odds even lower and even lower. And then you might be able to get on Fluminense on the +1 line. I hope that answers your question. The conclusion is no, I don't just indiscriminately jump on the next handicap up.
So many comments in here today. I can hardly get through them all, but a very good one there from, I think it might be either Nigel or producer John. 100 degrees at kickoff. It's going to be really warm. Thunder and lightning in the area. We could get weather delays and everything here. Wouldn't surprise me. Just so many comments. Quite a lot do like Chelsea, to be fair, in chat here. Underrated team perhaps. But I know Fluminense are having a bit more support in chat than they had been a couple of days ago.
You know what, Steve? The more I think about the weather and the conditions, I wouldn't want to have 6 players in my starting lineup that are 33 years or older, 2 of them in their 40s. I mean, I'm in my 40s, so I feel like I can kind of say that. But I think I remember Thiago Silva also saying after the Inter match, I think I remember him saying these are not conditions to play football in. So he was already feeling it. I think Fluminense are going to be feeling it here. And not conditions you want to have.
No,
those kind of age dynamics in your squad.
so many of you in chat right now, or putting the chat in. We appreciate those comments. Just a reminder about the Betting Weekly newsletter. The Monday edition was released yesterday and contained a couple of exclusive picks on the week in the soccer and the tennis. The Insider on Friday is going to be an Open Championship golf special. So do sign up to the Betting Weekly Insider totally for free. Well worth your while. I think it's going to be an excellent addition. And in terms of subscribers, we're too short now of 10,000. So anyone new in here or hasn't hit the subscribe button yet, now is your time to do it and shine. Likes are also appreciated.
Maybe we should go on strike, Steve. Maybe we should just have a silent strike until we reach the 10,000 and just sit here not doing very much. We might go the wrong way, I guess, but yeah. Well, we might be overrating our own appeal, but yeah.
I've got a question actually for you, Will, here from Meninda Prihar. It's a good day for questions actually. He was watching the dojo and they were talking about sharp money moves. How do you know when a line has moved from sharp money or recreational money? I don't know how easy this is to answer, but maybe you could give your best shot.
Yeah.
You will just know, won't you? Because you've been doing it for so many years, you know. But is there maybe certain things that you could look out for? Say, on an Asian handicap, a line drops by 10 cents or something.
You gotta. There are things you can do. There are crumbs you can follow. There are ways you can reverse engineer it and figure it out. I mean, for example, so often we talk about bet rivers. 90% of tickets are on this side on the overs, for example. Yet the odds on unders are shortening, right? Unders has gone from -110 to -120, but 90% of tickets are on the over. Well, why are the odds on the unders shortening then? Because of sharp money. So that's a sharp move. I think in the US they call it a reverse line move, where the majority of bettors are on one outcome, yet the other side is shortening. That is one of the more obvious kind of telltale signs. The trickier ones and the real nuance basically involves you staring at screens all day, every day, like me. And I wouldn't advise that. But yeah, there are ways.
We did get to 9,999, but now we went back to 9,998 again. So people are playing silly games here by subscribing and unsubscribing, and it's just want to respond to Andrew Hart there. I was talking about Colombia yesterday. I got on them at 100 to 1 last summer. It wasn't yesterday. They were 50 to 1 yesterday with Bet Rivers to win the World Cup. I don't know what their actual odds are now, but I said anything 33 to 1 or more, I would have a nibble on Colombia for the World Cup coming up next summer. But anyway, we're going to move on to tomorrow's semi-final in the Club World Cup, PSG against Real Madrid. I mean, it's a mouth-watering contest, isn't it, Will? PSG plus 135. I think that's a big price, personally. I just do at this point in time. I'd be interested to see where you rank both teams at the moment. Is it more difficult to rank in the middle of an off-season sort of thing? But I do think PSG's level is certainly better than Real Madrid's.
Yeah, I'm on PSG. I got the -120 on the draw no bets. It's now -130 something. It's shortening. The money's coming. It's another example of betting early. As I said, I don't know if it's the pre-tournament preview. Actually, I don't think I was on that, but the first show I did, I think it was for the first round of group stage matches on the first day, on the Monday. I think you've got PSG are the team that's coming of the big teams coming into this tournament, kind of looking to cap off a successful season. And I think that's a different mentality to the other big teams that are coming in kind of in transition, looking to start a fresh season. And that was my kind of rationale for backing PSG, is for whatever reason that translates into, more certainty basically about, their motivation, how they're going to set up, and the players will have more certainty. And we talked about the fact that the PSG players had actually had quite a lot of rest during the season with the rotation of Luis Enrique in Ligue 1. And so I see Real Madrid on the other end of that spectrum, a completely different trajectory, new manager, new methods, new strategy, new style of play, new players. I like PSG in that matchup. I'd prefer the team with the same squad that's had the success, with the same manager, with the same methods, the same strategy, the same, dressing room atmosphere, those kind of intangibles. PSG have them all in their favor. I think, they had that hiccup in the group stages against, was it Botafogo? I think
Botafogo.
But since the knockout rounds have started, utterly dominant against Inter Miami until, they took their foot off the pedal in the second half, being up 4-0. Much, much better team versus Bayern Munich in the last round. They were down to 10 men, right? And still went on to win the scoreline from that point in the match, scoring to win it 2-0 whilst down to 9 men. And I do think eventually Xabi Alonso will get this Real Madrid team back. I think at a certain point in time, I think once he's got his methods instilled in the squad, the style of play, etc., I think they'll be a force to be reckoned with and potentially quite dominant. But I don't think we're there yet. And so on the main line, I like PSG.
I'll tell you what, we certainly are there with the subscribers, Will. 10,002 subscribers. Thank you to everyone who has supported this channel right from the start. It's a great milestone for us. And I say thanks to everyone who has been watching whatever show and subscribed since the get-go. And so many comments in today as well.
Smashed through it, right?
Yeah.
10,002. We didn't just...
10,003 now. It's going up. It's going up.
Snowballing. 20,000 before the end of the show.
Andrew, 50-1 Colombia on Bet Rivers. Get on it now. Absolutely. Forget 33-1. Get on at 50-1 with Bet Rivers right now. Krukru says it's hard to imagine a draw. PSG should win with a handicap. I like the aggression. Andrew Hart says Real Madrid disappointing, but I have a feeling for them here. Hamka says PSG to beat Real. Also, both teams score. Yes. How did Ginepi get on at plus 145 against Bayern? Did they really go that big before kickoff?
They did.
That's absurd. Incredible. Hoyson, of course, yes, he's suspended here. There is 3 suspensions across the board, 2 to starters, both in defence. I do like the goals in this game. I think there'll be a few goals, actually. Do like the over 3 Asian goal line as well. I think it's like 3-1 PSG is what I could see in this one. Plenty of talk about player props as well. Anyone in this game that you like for the props, Will? I mean, there's several contenders.
I thought you'd never ask, and there's always a prop, Steve. There's always a player prop. There's always a shot on target, Rick, out there. I think Jude Bellingham's the guy here. Just comparing the prices, you've got Bradley Barcola minus 180. Okay, Dembele minus 155. Could not touch that. Doué minus 240. A favorite of the show, a favorite of mine. But finally, the Bet Rivers traders have picked up on him. You'd be seeing him at minus 120 normally, but minus 240. Nope. Vinicius minus 230. Nope. Kvaratskhelia minus 360. Nope. Mbappe minus 715. I mean, no. So my guy is Jude Bellingham minus 117. He's barely even minus money. A lot's been said about his offensive output dropping since Mbappe came in, but he still averaged 0.80 shots on target per 90 last season. So if you were backing him at this kind of price over the season, you would have ended up in profit. He's a player for big matches, and this is big. So, I agree with you. I like the overs here. I think the over 2.75 at minus 130-ish is definitely worth a bet. But in the player props, it's Jude Bellingham to register at least a shot on target at minus 117.
Yeah, it seems that Jude Bellingham is always offered generously by Bet Rivers for the last calendar year. Many times we've cashed on him, and but yeah, I mean, there's several player props in that game that has been mentioned in the chat. Was mentioned yesterday as well. So yeah, absolutely. There's because it's probably likely to be fairly offensive. Then there's a case for several starters in this game. Just looking through some more comments here. Colombia always touted as a lively outsiders every World Cup, but they never do anything. Did reach the quarterfinals in 2014, Duncan. Can't believe I'm having a debate about the World Cup. It's a year away. It's the way it goes on Betting Weekly Live sometimes. Okay. That is the Club World Cup. What would be your best bet out of the two Club World Cup games? Well, I'll let you think about that, actually. We'll ask you at the end of the show. Because there is other action on today. Put it in chat if you are betting on the women's Euros. We haven't got any picks today, but we've got Germany women against Denmark women, Poland against Sweden as well. That Spain game yesterday was absolutely crazy, wasn't it? Goals galore. Spain do look a good thing in this tournament to win it. But if you are following this women's Euros, do put the best bets in chat for this competition. And we've got, like I said, we've got action going on in the Europa League and Europa Conference League qualification and Champions League. No goals yet, cups against Milsami, but there is loads of other fixtures on. And I'm going to just kind of go through the card myself here with some ideas. There's a couple of bets I like as well. Noah against Budknost. Noah, of course, we saw them in Conference League action last year. I have heard that they have reinforced quite strongly over the summer. Deadly serious about this. Facing the Montenegrin champions, Budknost. Now, Noah, you could actually get Noah about -130, -140 early in the week. They have been smashed in massively hard. Wouldn't surprise me if they won quite well here. I'm not going to get involved in the handicap because we're nearly at -2 territory. But Noah should win that game based on what I know. And those that got on early, they've got a great value bet. Iberia Malmo, there was a few comments in chat about Malmo. I don't like the way this Malmo team's playing right now. I don't like the lineup at all. A lot of their best flair players are on the bench here, so that might be a tactic. However, Oliver Berg is +360 to score any time, which is a huge price. He's going to start up front here. He'll be listed as a midfielder, but he's starting up front in this lineup. Oliver Berg has to be back to score any time. Away to the Georgian champions. I wouldn't back Malmo to win here. They'll get through over the two legs, but they're just not looking great at the minute. Levadia Tallinn against RFS. That's Estonia against Latvia. I think it's probably the best over bet of the day in the Champions League. Both sides normally rack up the score big in their respective home leagues, win loads of games. Probably got a lot of goals in them, and I think they'll fancy beating each other. So over 2.5 goals at -165 would be probably my best over bet of the day in the Champions League. Ljubljana, the Slovenian champions, against Karat Almaty. They are the Kazakhstani champions, traveling a long way. I think they're at about the same level of what Astana are. And in the second leg, I definitely would bet on Almaty, but not here. It's a tough one. Ljubljana probably will win the game, but the prices look about right. And then at the bottom there, the game of the day Vikingur Gotha against Lincoln Red Imps. This is the Faroese champions against the Gibraltar champions, the match we've all been waiting for. I was actually tempted by Vikingur Gotha here. I don't know much about either team, but Faroe Islands away. Who wants to be going there? It's going to be cold. It'll be quite miserable there. These Gibraltar sides aren't very good. Could you stomach betting on a Faroese team at -159 though, Will? That would be an uncomfortable bet, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I could if I thought I had an edge. But I know absolutely nothing about that game. And what I will say is this might not be backed by anything vaguely related to reality, but I do just have this sense that Gibraltar football is on the up. And maybe I'm talking not much sense, but it's just a feeling I've got about Gibraltar and Gibraltar football. So in this circumstance, no. But I was most interested by Noah because I know we've mentioned them quite a few times on the shows. And quite a cool story, quite a cool team, and one that we've definitely been following. So, but yeah, like you say, minus 130 into minus 450.
Minus 530 now. They have been backed off the board. Like, if they were, I mean, if those who've gone at minus 130, minus 140, they're having a laugh right now.
So that's I think that is, for me, that is one of the keys to betting is pricing things up early and looking for that value in the niches where, for whatever reason, Noah are good, they're better than they were last season, and they're most likely to shorten, so you need to get on early. You don't want to be waiting till Steve and I have done the preview show at what time are we? 11 a.m. Eastern on game day when the market's already shortened by 400 points. So yes, you do want to watch that to see if we back up your bet, but yeah, you need to be getting on the Noahs of this world quite early. One question I had for you actually about Malmo. Why have they got some of their best players on the bench in a Champions League qualifier? It doesn't really make any sense.
I just think they're a bit of a mess right now. They're not playing particularly well domestically. They've got a huge squad, and he has to keep the players happy. But I mean, just looking at the players on the bench today for Malmo, for me, their best player, their best defensive player is someone called Tahar Ali. He never gets a consistent run of starts. Ekong as well on the bench, Haskabanovic, Isaac Kiese-Tellin. These are good offensive players, and he's gone with 4-4-2. He's gone with Berg up front, who's he can play shallow striker. He's going to play up front here. That's why I said I think he has to be backed at plus 360. And then a lad called Gudjonsson, who for me he's an Icelandic player. He's very inconsistent. 1 goal he scored all season. I don't rate him at all, to be honest. Cue a hat trick now, but
they've got a deep squad, have they, Malmo?
Massive squad, yeah. It's a big squad. I mean, defensively, I do quite like the lineup today, I must say. Don't think they'll concede many goals. Could be below. I think it'll be a low-scoring game. Effie put up Iberia draw double chance. This is the Georgian champions. I don't know enough about them, to be honest. I know it's going to be fairly hot there, which that'll probably be an advantage for the home team. 0-0 or 1-0 wouldn't really surprise me overall. Malmo are better. They should, if they had anything about them, they'd go here and win 2 or 3. Effie agrees with me about the over 2.5 in Tallinn. I do think that there's goals in that game at both those sides. We'll look at some goals. There's more matches as well. Someone asked me about the Cups game. I haven't been watching it, and I mean I expected Cups to win. I think it's 0-0 last I seen. Yeah, still 0-0. Cups really should win that, but the Finnish league isn't that strong. It really isn't that strong. It's one of the weakest leagues up there. Normally HJK Helsinki are the best team in there, but they're not the defending champions. There's more games as well. The New Saints against Skendia. There's no way I'm ever backing a Welsh team at minus money. No way. Not in the Champions League. They might well win. The Macedonian champions there, Skendia. I think that's how you pronounce them. They are well equipped at this level. Got Dritter against Differdangia. That is Luxembourg champions away to, I think it's the Kosovan champions. I'm expecting a home win there. I think the -1. They're another team who've been well back, Will. I think you could actually get Dritter at -105 when on opening line. So they've been really well backed in. Got a feeling they might be the side to be with here. At least get the win. Might even cover a handicap. I tell you who I do like here is FK Ignatia. Now, for those who don't know, they are the Albanian champions. They're at home against Breidablik, Icelandic champions. It's going to be really hot, 35 degrees Celsius in Albania. That's 100 degrees Fahrenheit, I think. There's no way an Icelandic team are going to enjoy those conditions, ever. And a bit like Noah, I've heard that Ignatia have bolstered this summer and might be a team to be with. I think on the money line here, -139, the Albanian champions could be a good thing today. And then the last game is Virtus against Zrinjski. That is the San Marino champions. I'm not bothered there. I think the handicap's like -2, -3. Should be an away win. But I mean, for me, the best bet, Ignatia probably on the money line. That over in the Tallinn game. It's not, Levadia Tallinn against RFS. And then, that Viking Gotha is, I don't know what I'm going to do about that yet. I do have a feeling the Faroese side could be back. But I think at this stage of the season, you've got to look out for teams who are, where the money is going for. That's usually a good sign. And also teams that have bolstered in the summer. So a lot of people are betting on these matches a bit blind, and I'm not saying my vision is fully clear here, but there are clues you can pick up on in these early rounds to make profit.
Yes, very impressed, Steve, by your, more than anything, the pronunciation of teams there was, I mean, I think Dan Roebuck would be the judge of that, but as far as I'm concerned, that was very accurate. But yeah, great breakdown of the card. I haven't really got much to offer, but I think the one pertinent point is these are areas of the football betting world where it's not easier, but it's more possible to gain big edges over the market. We've already spotted a couple of prices that have shortened up dramatically. You're not going to get that on the World Club Cup so much. You're not going to get that on Premier League soccer or La Liga or Champions League group stages onwards soccer. So maybe a bit of advice to the guys out there watching this to focus on those more niche rounds of competitions where the teams and the bookies are going to find it much, much harder to price this up. So, yeah.
Tristan Wiggle, people have been getting on Noah in 2x2s. There's so many jokes about Noah. Someone said they're going to park the Ark.
Yeah.
FE, I mean, Malmo away from home have been disappointing. It wouldn't really surprise me if they just clanged a draw out of this game and then win the second leg. Yeah, I'm a little bit nervous for Malmo here. Malmo under 4.5 says RHM, and he's asking about the RFS game over for me. I think that's the best over game of the day. The Tallinn game against RFS over 2.5 or 2.75. You could take there. And where was it? Yes, just before we go, there is incredibly. Now, people ask me, Will, a lot throughout the whole year, who is the worst team in the league? Who is the worst team in the competition? Who's the worst team that enters any of these competitions? And here's an answer for Conference League. The Conference League starts today, the qualifying. We've got St. Joseph's FC against Cliftonville and Floriana against Haverfordwest. This is a Gibraltar team against Northern Ireland. Maltese team against Welsh. This is the worst of the worst, in theory. The lowest qualification round of the conference. I'm not saying they will be the worst teams. There's probably worse out there that enter in the next round or something. But this is not a good level. I don't have a bet here for anything. I can't get involved. I was tempted to actually back the Maltese side, Floriana, to beat Haverfordwest, but I'm not going to get involved here. But I just thought I would point it out for those who are interested. Conference League, it starts actually with St. Joseph game in 17 minutes' time. This is where it all begins. And yeah, the worst of the worst are in action at this stage of the season. It's a fascinating time. I love the qualifying, Will. Not this round, but I love it when we get to say second qualifying, final qualifying. I think it's really exciting. It almost means more than some of the group games. And for several sides that I've just talked about there, it's for them, it's kind of life and death. If they get through these, I mean, the bonuses on offer, the money that they get, the points they get, and things like that, don't underestimate them, because for them it's a huge deal. But if there'll be people out there who do have an edge on these games. So put it in chat if you do have anything. But do you get involved with later qualifying?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. When the bigger teams are starting to come in, the teams that I follow, maybe I'll just have a feeling around kind of how far they are along with the preseason, how motivated they're going to be. Often the default answer is very. But yeah, I mean, for me personally, like I already have enough teams on my radar that I'm trying to follow. Sadly, I can't get involved in the likes of Haverford West County. But yeah, let's hope none of their fans are listening, hey, because the worst of the worst, Steve, that's a bit harsh, isn't it?
Well, no, this is just by simple where you enter the tournament. Like I said, there may well be worse teams that actually enter the next round who have maybe, I don't know, won a domestic cup or something in these poorer nations. But I always get asked, it's one of the things I always get asked, who is the worst team in whatever league or competition? People love betting, and I do as well. I love betting against bad teams.
Here's a question. Are any of these teams worse than Auckland City? I very much doubt it.
Someone's just Tristan's put in Auckland City should get a wildcard entry into the Conference League. This is a great question. Auckland against these Conference League teams, how would they get on? We don't know. I think Auckland
are worse than all of them.
I don't know. Auckland City against the champions of San Marino.
Well, San Marino. Okay. I mean, I guess first step is who is the worst team in this in the Conference League qualifying?
Well, I'm guessing it will be probably a team from San Marino that didn't win their league. But most of the Conference League, I think, is on Thursday. I think the best team in action for me, the best team in action this round of Champions League qualifying is tomorrow. That is FCSB, Romanian champion. They've got a home match against the Andorran champions. That could be a huge win. But really, only Malmo and FCSB are sort of any good from this in this round of Champions League.
And maybe Noah. Come on, Noah.
Noah are an improving side. They are an improving side. That if they win huge here today, I'm not. If that was 4 or 5, I'm not shocked. Just looking at some of the other teams in action on Thursday, which I am on the live show on Thursday. I think I've got Tim Dennis on, so thankfully Wimbledon can be a distraction. But there's some absolute. I mean, we've got the Magpies from Gibraltar. We've got there's got to be La Fiorita from San Marino are in action on Thursday. They've got to be maybe the worst team in this. La Fiorita from San Marino. So that might be the answer.
Somebody needs to get on the FIFA coefficient because there will be some sort of gauge for this. Dan, if he's still watching, is probably doing it as we speak. But yeah, it's madness. Like Duncan says, absolute madness how Auckland City got a draw against Boca. I think Boca are just probably not that good. And also, it was over, wasn't it, when they restarted? So, yeah. So
here's another team, Tre Fiori. They're in action on San Marino on Thursday Conference League. So I imagine.
Is James Easton not on in the next couple
no, I think we scheduled it because Wimbledon's on. I think there'll be a big semi-final on, and we want to hear Tim Dennis's thoughts. But I will try. I'll set aside 10 minutes for the best Conference League bets if I find any. Blinker God says Minnesota Chicago Fire over 3 Asian. You bet on MLS. Is that a good bet or not?
I do. Is that tomorrow night? It's definitely not tonight. Is it tomorrow night or is it weekend?
I'd imagine a midweek round. Duncan Evan, get your coat. Thought we might see a flood of money for Noah. That's the sort of thing that me or Dan would say. Anyway, Will, best bet from the semi-finals of the Club World Cup. What are you going with?
I think it's between PSG draw no bet, which has shortened quite a lot, and over 2.75, which has shortened a little bit. So I'm just going to go with the over 2.75 goals at minus 130-ish.
That is a big price.
Yeah, just
that is, isn't it?
Less than 3 goals, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm amazed at. I thought it'd go the other way. I thought the goal line would go more to 3.25 or 2.75. May well do still, but yeah, I think that's a great bet. Will, it's been an interesting show. And thanks everyone. We have reached over 10,000 subscribers now. We're at 10,005 subscribers. So shout out to everyone who has been part of the channel. Thanks so much. The action continues today on at Because We Win Betting Weekly Tennis Live. Spoke of Tim Dennis. He's on in an hour's time with Nigel Seeley. They're going to be, what we got Wimbledon quarterfinals today, haven't we? There'll be in-play bets there. Reaction from Sabalenka's win. She's ground over the line. And then later on, Betting Weekly Hardball, Betting Weekly Fast Break. So the action doesn't stop there. Will, I don't know when you're next on, or when me and you are going to be next on together, but wishing you all the best with your betting and recharging ahead of the new season.
Recharging with too much booze, but yeah, I guess it is a form of recharging and relaxation. But yeah, thanks everyone out there for getting us over the 10,000 mark today. Best of luck, everyone, with your bets, and see you next time.
Oh, we've got a graphic.
That's amazing.
We've got a graphic for it. Thank you, John, for bringing that. We didn't know if we were going to get there, but he's come up with the goods. Brilliant. Thanks so much. Remember to gamble responsibly, everyone. I'll see you on Thursday on Betting Weekly Live with Tim Dennis. Tomorrow, Dan Roebuck's on with Nathan Joyce. So they can go through the second semi-final again, and there's more action in Champions League qualifying. So take care, everyone, and we'll see you next time on Betting Weekly Live.